Hello everyone, thanks for joining this section of Microsoft Online Tech Forum. Let me introduce myself. My name is Harry Pang. I'm Cybersecurity Executive under Microsoft Cybersecurity Solutions Group. Today's section title is Deep Dive into Microsoft Threat Protection. See how we defend against threats like phishing and stop attacks in the tracks across your estate. In short, in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share with you how Microsoft Threat Protection enhancement and how can this enhancement help you to do more efficient detect, response, and also on top of the protection. So first of all, let me share my stack. All right, let's go to the agenda. So we are going to divide into 3 parts. First, we will talk about today's challenges to tackle cyber threats. Then we will take a look what's the advancement in our Microsoft Threat Protection Suite. At the end, I will show you some demos on how the actual things look like. Let's look at some data points about the latest threat landscape. So from here you can see from this report, most of the data breaches were from common attack vectors. Apparently, half of breaches feature hacking. Around 1/3 include social attacks like leveraging social engineering. Of course, phishing is one of the low-hanging fruits among cyber attacks from attackers, which was 32%. And 29% of breaches related to stolen credentials. And one more point to call out, about 56% of breaches took months or longer to discover. That means the attack vectors are quite diversified. There are increase in data breaches involved phishing email and stolen credential, and also it takes time to perform remediation and recovery. Microsoft, like other security vendors, we also produce our own security intelligence report. There's a link at the bottom if you want to know more details. To highlight few points here, with the increase in cloud adoption and with more resources on the cloud, we found there are more cloud weaponization scenarios. That means some normal data or resources in the cloud become malicious by attackers in the later stage after they pass the first check of security. Secondly, there are more victims endpoints being used for cryptocurrency mining. Another thing to take note is the rise of software supply chain attack. The impact is much bigger as the distribution of malware will be amplified to more end users through the software supply chain distribution. Finally, we also observe phishing continues to be the preferred attack vector, simply because it is of low cost to execute and also the return could be very high. After we understand the latest threat landscape, let's talk about the approach which could be effective to tackle these challenges. With that, let me borrow a quote from one of our colleagues called John Lambert, who is from our Microsoft Security Threats Intelligence Center. He wrote a blog post in 2015 about the relationship between attackers and defenders, which is still valid for now, unfortunately. He made a statement that defenders think in lists, attackers think in graphs. As long as this is true, attackers win. To visualize the scenario, we can use the picture shown here to explain further. This is an analogy of security defense. It's like defending a free kick in a soccer match. In this case, defenders are building a wall to block attacker to score the goal. However, in this actual situation, we find that is not the case. The players do not stand still attackers do move around and dribble the ball to attack. Like in cyberspace, bad actors are also trying to exploit vulnerabilities to infiltrate into victims' organization. In this case, it's not easy to defending side to form a more structural way to counteract. Actually, it happens that cyber criminals are so organized and they are patient. They will wait till they find a way to get into your digital estate or your environment. Once they penetrate, they will start several waves of attack and exfiltrate companies' important data. This diagram may be familiar to some of you. It shows the cyber attack kill chain. Again, like what the Security Intelligence Report mentioned, attackers usually try to penetrate by phishing email at the very beginning, then to the infected user's devices and identity. Later on, they will try something called lateral movement to find a way to get privileged access and ultimately attack the domain and exfiltrate data. If you have some idea of our Microsoft threat protection products, or maybe even using some of our solutions, you can find the respective protection components at the bottom. The job of all these products is to provide first-line protection from cyber attacks in these different layers. We call it defense in depth. We will come back to the Microsoft threat protection soon. Up next, let's try to take a look at the changes or what we call the mind shift of approach in security markets. In the past, most of security architecture was talking about reliability, meaning decide not to fail or make it a bulletproof. With the ever-changing security landscape, the latest approach is tend to more resilient, which means decide to recover quickly from security incident. Also, from security operation point of view, we used to think about prevention or protection from every possible attack. With the assumed breaches concept, and with more zero-day vulnerabilities, it leads us to think about protection, detection, and response approach along attack phases. In order to cope with these new approaches, that's why we need to look into how to enhance our tool from protection focus to incorporate detection and response capabilities. Now, let's go back to Microsoft Threat Protection Suite and see the changes to address these challenges. There are 4 areas we need to consider. First, from the left, in order to make it more efficient in troubleshooting, investigation, remediation, and response, we need to consolidate multiple managed portals from respective MTP products to a single portal. This also includes how security signals to be shared across different MTP products. For example, if I find new pieces of malware from email attachment, it should be able to share the intelligence and sample to be detected on endpoint security. This is more or less we call it single pane of glass for user experience as security analysts. Speaking of unified entities for security operation, we also need to simplify the troubleshooting process. With more data, there will be more security alerts and events generated. How can we pinpoint important security incidents as priority? Like the second left picture, we can see what we figured is about connecting the dots. If we could build some intelligence to let the platform to cross-reference the alerts from different threat protection solutions, we can minimize the noise and let security team focus on high priority incidents or even track back retrospective attacks timeline. Then we can add on the third pillar to let each perimeter protection tool to coordinate defense. How can we make endpoint protection tools and cloud app security work together as tight integration? Or from email or endpoint detection layer, can we also correlate and find out a compromised user account plus trigger a blocking rules for this compromised account from accessing corporate network? Last but not least, From rightmost picture, it seems someone is using his or her fingers to block a hole and prevent water leakage from the wall. So the ultimate goal for all these enhancements is to achieve the goal of proactive attack prevention from reactive protection detection. Let's go deep to take a look at Microsoft Threat Protection, or MTP, as a suite of protection layer. Along the line for the last 12 to 18 months, I think some of you may follow our news. You can see from the top that we are thrilled and happy to share most of our products in MTP are regarded as the best of breed security workloads. Be it like endpoint security, be it like cloud app security, or identity and access management, or email protection. We got recognitions from individual solutions area. As mentioned earlier, in order to provide a unified user experience, we need to build something more tied together. What we have done from the protection layer at the bottom, we build up another layers to provide cross-product signal sharing. This is for producing single portal and security dashboard. The portal also provide coordinated protections to stop attack and automated remediation to self-heal affect access. In order to do this, there is a layer called unified entity. This is very, very important because this unified entity with respective repetition, we can have enriched single view of entity, whether it is in a good or bad state, based on the repetition across user identity, machines, email, files, IP address, URL, something like that. With this layer built, it is not only for showing overall security posture of an entity, we can also possess of upstream and downstream orchestration semantics. That means it will more simplify to build security orchestration, automation, and response, or workload and also playbooks. With all these add-on in MTP single portal, it could help to pivot a better security management or incident handling, like what cannot be found in the usual reactive way. With this new M365 Security Center that you can go to security.microsoft.com, your security operation team can perform incident handling, investigation, threat hunting, security analysis in one place. Before we go to take a look of the portal, there are a few more points about features and functions of Microsoft Threat Protection to highlight. To start with, you can expect threat protection is the fundamental for all components under MTP. If not protect, at least detection will be in place. Also, moving to detect and response concept, more capabilities like investigation and remediation, as well as threat hunting and threat analysis will be provided. Some of those products like MDATP is already incorporate most of these features already. Our product and engineering team are working hard. You will find similar investigation and remediation functions will be gradually rolled out to other products like email and identity. Same for the Threat Express services. It is currently available for our endpoint products. It will be extended email and identity protection as well. So you will find all these features will be unified to lend to all and most of our MTP components. Up next, let's take a closer look at the new Microsoft Protection Portal. Once you log on to the new MTP portal, the first page you can see is Incident Queue. As mentioned, we'll unify all alerts and incidents from different protection tools in a single view. You can see those highlight incidents. The relevant impacts entities are shown as a whole. It is not just showing endpoint alerts detection. We also check against relevant impact entities like impact mailbox or user being compromised. These are all grouped in a single incident for follow-up and troubleshooting. You can also see there may be several data sources to come up the incident. When we click on the first incident, you can see that is an example as credential theft phishing campaign highlight. All relevant alerts down below are from different components and listed down as a timeline. Those alerts are also tied to mid-tier attack framework, which is widely adopted in cybersecurity practice as a cybersecurity kill chain framework. We can then move to investigate respective scope of impact access. In this case, the first one is the device of a user called Mike. It is tagged as high risk because it is also flagged with confidential data stored in this device. Another one, the domain controller, is also impact scope, so it is also marked as high risk. On the third one, user account Jonathan, which associated with admin privileges, is also listed in scope. If we want to see more details, down below we'll have more evidence and pending actions to follow up. In short, all incidents are now grouped by multiple sources that can be seen easily here. If you further click on one of the active alerts down below, it will show you a pop-up of details of that alerts on the right hand side. Information like alert detection category, detection sources, all those has been resolved or assigned to anyone to handle. All these details can be seen here. If we want to see the whole list of 11 active alerts, we can click on the Alerts tab. It will show details of all full lists of alerts associated with this incident. Again, details detected by individual data sources and attack methods are listed. It could be endpoint related, identity, or email related. As we mentioned, the single portal can also help to perform remediation and respond. We can click further on Automated Investigation tab. Here you can see 5 trigger alerts. If you see the status, which is green, that means it has been taken care of by automated investigation or remediation are done. We can focus on the yellow one and click on it to the next page. So when you click the incident, and then it will explain for this particular incident with more details. First, you can see the graph that trigger how the events are triggered, and then if you want to, you can zoom into the entities analysis, and then from there you can see there are a total of 2,500 entities are listed, such as by users, files, process, so all related details can be found here. If we further click the user tab, then we can check the details of the infected user. Just now, as we recall, Jonathan is affected and his account is associated with admin privileges. So as this one we are not setting as auto approval for remediation, so we can click further on Jonathan's account and see what other actions or approval process we need to do, and from there we can further decide what action to be taken. Now after we click Jonathan's name. From the menu, we see there is a pop-up of the details, and we can choose to approve to disable this account and isolate it from getting access from the corporate network. Of course, as mentioned, it is also up to customer choices to set up as in an automated or manual approval process. For this one, as identity related, we set it as a manual intervention process. If any of audience here has used our email protection product, you may know that we have similar automated investigation functions. When we click further to the device tab of the incident, actually we can also see a single page related to endpoint machine and all the details like which user has been logged on to the machine, data with sensitivity level, exposure score, and all these are what we talk about as a unified entity reputation. We will keep adding all these details like IP addresses, URL access, plus those current ones shown here as a unified entity reputation dashboard. Now we have two more things to go. Other than what the tools detect and provided, what if I'm curious to know more? Something that may not be detected, but I want to cross-check again. Like in the example, we know Mike's account is being compromised and he performed a series of abnormal actions like running a PowerShell script. So I'm thinking, will there be any chance the attackers will use my account to send further email to other internal users, and from there the other users will run the same PowerShell script in other machines? So if you want to do that kind of checking and searching, we can go to advanced hunting pages or on that section to do a query and search for further investigation, which we mentioned above. In the advanced hunting screen, you can see there are schemas of different data sets like email or from identity or endpoints, or be it like our app security. So we can associate the data sets to this hunting rules to perform an advanced hunting query. And on the right, you can see the actual query script. Those are formally called KQL, Coastal Query Language, that is widely used from our products. If you attend the other section about Azure Sentinel, KQL is also introduced over there. What we need to do is perform a query search, say based on specific time and email from Mike, and check if there's any Outlook client trigger PowerShell execution. So after we run the query, we find that there are 3 results with this criteria. Then that means there are 3 machines also got infected and running PowerShell on Outlook, which is abnormal. So now we have a further targets and list that we can further investigate based on the results. Last thing in this section, we always hear our customer would like to know if the environment will be hit by major virus outbreak, like previously WannaCry, Petya kind of attack. Now we hear that, and we have something called threat analysis that provides global intelligence on those new virus malware information to customer environment. And more than that, it will also map and check if those malware is happening or happens in customer environment. So when you see this section on the screen, left hand side it shows all those major incident, well-known malware found in what happened in the current environment, in the worldwide environment. If it is green, that means the malware did exist, but it is already resolved and remediate already. But if this is red, that means it's still impacting in the environment and not yet resolved. So normally, if we find all this information useful, we will want to deep dive into it. So from this page, you can see that the details of the vulnerability, all these can be found on the detail pages. And then we talk about the background, the impact, and also anything reference documents will be shown here. So this is recorded in some kind of threat intelligence. Finally, let's wrap up. Now I hope you find it makes more sense about unified single MTP Microsoft Threat Protection portal after all these illustrations of demos and the points just we made. With the foundation of protection built from respective Microsoft security tools till the Microsoft Threat Protection product, our goal is to enhance customer security operations in terms of managing multiple defense perimeter into one single location. Provide simplification by sharing signals and information across platform, and also giving more visibility as unified entities repetition as actionable intelligence. Not to mention upstream and downstream orchestration capability so that cope with market notion of security orchestration, automation and response, or what we call SOAR. In the end, modernizing security operations with correlation and coordination as a single platform goal. Again, all this information and demonstration will give you more idea how we enhance Microsoft Threat Protection to unlock the value not only as a protection tool to defend your digital estate from cyber attack, but also there is capability to narrate the story of the attack through incident handling like incident graph. Not to mention, it can streamline the process by automated remediation. So threat analysts can then be freed up to perform new initiatives like threat hunting and enhance security posture of your organization. If you want to know how do you get MTP portal, here are the information for you. MTP is generally available for M365 E5 customers at this moment. In the near future, customers with more than one E5 security products like MDATP, Office ADP or Azure ATP can enjoy it. If you want to know more, please also check out the website or Twitter account shown below. With that, this concludes my section. I hope you enjoy the section and hope this is useful for your pursuit. Thank you.